Hello everyone. So I've just finished filming my Christmas quiz on 2023. It is the 7th of March 2025, 12:34 p.m. I finally got there, partly because it's something for me to enjoy and you may enjoy it as well, but so I wanted to do it natural like all of my videos. I did not wish to rush it, but yeah, it's been an extremely busy time, as you can tell. It's more than a year late. But hey, I have at least one more planned. And I made a reference to a 2020 quiz I planned, because I stumbled across the file with some very obscure questions, even by my standards. So I made a joke in this quiz about you should be thankful that I have not filmed the 2021. I think that was some really zany questions. But yeah, so as well as my usual silliness and also serving some serious points, I naturally wanted to include. I mean, I'm a big fan of music and such, but not just but also hoping to appeal to different people's tastes and things. I like mentioning octaves for the more technical side of singing. Something my father would know much more about than I do. My mother likes EastEnders. The final question is a reference to you can see how old this quiz is. Although I did add some more questions, I think last year, so it's been growing. But finally, it reached its natural end. And other questions I'm now automatically putting towards a future quiz, maybe this year or planned for this year, but will end up being filmed 2 years later. It's been a very busy life, to say the least, with all different things. But yeah, the reason why question 27, so I'm going to go through the questions, explain them all. 27, we'll start at 27. The last question. If your name is Steve, award yourself a point. That is a nod toward my good friend Steve, because we were at a Christmas party. I believe this was back in 2022. So you can see how it ended up being slipped, how it inspired me creating a question for a quiz which was planned for 2023. We both felt cheated by a quiz because people using their phones, they were ruining the fun of it all. That was very naughty, and I know he was also upset about that. So I thought I'm going to make sure he gets at least 1 point as a nice reference to that moments where we were cheated out of a Christmas quiz. So if he struggles through my quiz and then he hears his name, he can think, "Oh, my name is Steve. I get a point. I'm no longer being cheated." So that was question 27. Let's go through them again. This means I can finally close the file that I've had open for over a year. Although, of course, Windows likes to restart for updates against your will, but I always have to then go through all the documents, open them again. So that has also slowed things down. But yeah, basically I've been open for over a year. As soon as it's finished restarting, I have to open all the files back up again. My running joke about Gordon Brown handling my complaints department. What's that? I have a complaints department. Oh, that's something for you to complain about. It's the lack of a complaints department. So this is sort of you could quote quadruple speak or nonsense speak about the winner of the quiz will receive a limited edition of an unlimited edition of unlimited. I just like going back and forth, limited, unlimited, contrasting. I love contrast, which is a big thing in comedy in general, but something I focus on a lot. Yeah, so question 27 was a reference to my friend being cheated out of the Christmas quiz. And as I say, question 26 is about octaves. I'll go through the answers in a separate video where I'm still doing the Christmas vibe. This is just giving the backstory. This was, one of the last questions to be added. You may think logically because it is 26, but as I say 27, what ended up becoming 27 was added long ago, but I moved it to the end. I wanted it to be the last question, so I had to keep bumping it along. It was probably question 5 or 10 originally, something like that. So question 26 was one of the last I think that actually was the last. I don't think that chat. I may have changed the order of some questions, but I'm pretty sure that was the last. Name through Swedish bands, again, hoping somebody will mention Roxette, as I'm a big Roxette fan. Mince pies, this was also a much more recently added question. I did a bit of research and found somebody called Margaret Baker, appropriate surname there, but then again, back in the day, people's surnames did relate to their trade. Name 4 houses of Hogwarts, self-explanatory. How many tourists visit Jerusalem each year? I was thinking about a friend of mine. I think he and his wife have visited Jerusalem, but I know they're very Christian. Joe said they have a faith, and I thought that's the question might interest them. I'm sure they know the answer, or may do, but it might be fun for them anyway. Well, I love philosophy a lot, links in with question 22, but question 21, fatalism versus determinism, because some people confuse them or conflate, so that's good. Question 20, again, this is kind of my contrasting nonsense, but in a fun way. If a snake has legs and a lizard without legs, is the snake a lizard and the lizard a snake? But I put in my notes, go into detail about how they would still be different, because of course they would still be different. That's an interesting thing. Very different, in fact. Cheetah, I do love cheetahs. And I was doing a lot of ad-libbing while I was reading just now, and I thought, let's give a clue. So I started talking about people not being allowed to cheat. Don't cheat. Seeing if anyone would think, wait, what about cheetahs? Are they the fastest? Do they have the fastest recorded speed? But, probably I made it too obvious. Maybe I will leave that hint out, I'm not sure. But yeah, I was doing a lot of ad-libbing. What are marshmallows made from? I need to get the exact ingredients for that. I've not actually put that in. Pokemon cards, again, speaks for itself. We do love our Pokemon cards. Brian Adams or DJ Sammy for heaven, baby, you're the one I want when you're lying here in your arms or in heaven, etc., etc. Stretchy Susan, again, that's my usual nonsense. For Drive, again, you've been sort of trying to lead people up the garden path, and like I did with, has been affectionate towards Finn Loves Food, at a channel run by Tina and Ross. I sent them a package. I said, you have to solve my riddle before you're allowed to eat, and it was a bit of the real riddle was trying to get them into an incorrect state of thinking sort of thing. So I said, if such and such is looking at such and such, who is looking at the polar bear or something like that? But the point was it's all redundant because polar bears and penguins do not live together. Just because it's fictional anyway. Obviously, I do not own a penguin or a polar bear. I've not observed them together, so you could argue that they were not to know that, which is the point. You have to try and work out, is this person being serious? Do I say, well, geographically they're separate, or do I understand that in this fictional world, in this situation, there is a penguin looking at a polar bear, looking at a girl, looking at a boy, whatever. So the same idea here. I said, if I drive a car backwards, what will happen? Well, the car will move backwards, clever clogs, is the answer. What do you think is going to happen? To try so people might be scratching their heads thinking, okay, there's something complicated going on here. What? No, the car will move backwards. If the car moves backwards, it moves backwards. There's nothing to it. Just do it. I don't know, I just like teasing people affectionately and things. So again, I think this was going to be one of my silly ones to Fredo, and I kept the dating purposely. What is the current average price as of October 2023? So you can see when I added this one roughly. Because I was going to make a joke about how they now cost £9 million, but then I thought, no, I will give the serious answer, which actually ended up being none of the answers given, I think. Shockingly, the answer can be as low as 25 pence if buying a multi-pack from stores such as Poundland. But it's a talking point anyway about chocolate going up or inflation in general, so it might be interesting. M, obviously, for margin, which has come up again with Dragon Ball Daima, which did not even exist when I started this quiz, I think. Sadly, it had not been released. I'm not sure if they even knew about it back then. French-Canadian for Avril Lavigne, although they now say, so this is question 11, Wikipedia's now removed the French reference. But, I would say French-Canadian. She will always be our French-Canadian. Question 10, both eats the Jaffa cake and safely climb the tree with both hands. So I love Jaffa cakes, I like climbing trees. Have to be careful with this dodgy body, but I do like climbing trees. I did get in another Castlevania reference, Simon Belmont. Excuse me, I'm sneezing. Aldi own the UK Belmont's biscuit brands. I've now put Konami and Aldi together into one. They are going to collaborate one day. One of these days, you'll see Simon Belmont on a packet of biscuits at Aldi. That is my dream. Or we could create edible game cartridges with a Konami logo emblazoned on it. That would be interesting, actually. Question 8, so multiple choice. The answer would be D, of course, more than 400. Since 2012, so that's post black and white era, 2011, wasn't it? 2010 to 11. Question 7, just a joke about Teletubbies. I'm not quite sure if that came out how I meant it to. Demonic, possession-centric show. Yeah, I think I more just meant that they are demons, the Teletubbies, but demonic possession. You get the idea. Question 6. So question 7, Teletubbies, is just, I have nothing against it really, of course, and I actually somewhat enjoyed it as a child, I think. Probably more than I liked the Tweenies, although I think because I was quite old when Tweenies came out, teenage, but the song was maybe catchy. And I believe my sister was into Teletubbies quite a bit. In any case, just a reference to our childhoods, though people remember Teletubbies. Question 6, my ad-libbing just randomly compounding. If I struck a count on a Tuesday, then a Thursday, then a Friday, so it's just making up as I go along, not intending for it to make the slightest bit of sense. So it may make sense, it may not. Question 5, again, Jaffa cakes, and with my typical nonsense humour. And then I felt like slapping onto that. Please present your answer in Dutch for additional effect. Question 4, how many Back to the Future films were produced? I believe I've seen only 2, but I need to see the final one, the Western one, wasn't it? The Wild West. Yeah. Name 3 songs by legendary Swedish band Roxette. Again, self-explanatory. I'm a big fan of Roxette. Number 2, in which year did EastEnders and Neighbours both debut? Or as it's 1985 for both, that would be interesting. And number 1, an X-Files reference. So we've got some of my favourite shows and things in, as well as some of my usual nonsense. So now I need to film me talking about the answers.